The arrogant chuckles of the Bolian ambassador echoed through the Galactic Council chambers as he mocked humanity's pathetic military capabilities, utterly unaware of the fact that at this very moment, a massive fleet of 500,000 secret human warships was about to shock every alien race in the galaxy and prove that the peaceful backwater Earth was not to be trifled with. It was the year 2245, and while Earth had become a technologically advanced planet, it had also been a peaceful one for centuries, avoiding any major conflicts. This had led many of the other spacefaring races in the Galactic Council to view humans as a primitive species that barely deserved a seat at the table. The council was currently led by the insufferably arrogant Bolians, and in this contentious council meeting, their ambassador, Kalar, was belittling humanity's lack of military might compared to the other alien civilizations. Earth's representative Nathan Thomas calmly endured Kalar's taunts and insults. Then, with a slight smile, he informed the sneering Bolian and the rest of the council that appearances could be quite deceiving when it came to humanity's true strength. Kalar scoffed in disbelief, but his mocking laughter was cut short as Nathan revealed Earth's shocking secret. For the past 100 years, humanity had been quietly constructing an immense armada of highly advanced warships, hidden away in shielded shipyards scattered across the solar system. Kalar's jaw dropped, and the council chamber fell silent as, on cue, an incredible force of 500,000 human vessels suddenly decloaked and emerged from hyperspace on the view screens surrounding the council headquarters. The human ships ranged from agile fighters to gigantic dreadnoughts, all of them sleek, heavily armed, and equipped with state-of-the-art weapons and defenses that put the Bolian and other council races' warships to shame. The council erupted into shocked exclamations and frenzied murmurs as the alien ambassadors struggled to process the stunning revelation. Earth had pulled the wool over the eyes of every other spacefaring power. Amid the chaos, Nathan calmly explained that many years ago, humanity had detected signs of hostile alien races in nearby star systems. Realizing the need for a robust defense to ensure Earth's safety, their leaders had made the wise decision to keep the construction of this incredible fleet a complete secret. For decades, Earth's ambitious project had proceeded in hidden shipyards, with human ships and technology advancing in leaps and bounds. Kalar and the other alien ambassadors looked on in astonishment, humiliation, and more than a little fear as they absorbed the new reality. The balance of power in the galaxy had just violently shifted. Earth was no longer a quiet backwater to be ignored or pushed around. Humanity was now a force to be reckoned with, commanding a vast armada that eclipsed any other in the known galaxy. The shockwaves from this sudden revelation of Earth's military superiority quickly spread far beyond the council chambers. Some alien races reacted with outrage, viewing humanity's secret fleet as a grand betrayal of galactic peace and stability. But other species began to see humans in a whole new light, as a rising power that could reshape the future. For Kalar and his fellow Bolians, their arrogance quickly turned to resentment and wounded pride. Humiliated by how completely they had underestimated the humans, the Bolians began to scheme and plot ways to undermine Earth's growing influence and contain their strength. But the secret was out now, and there was no putting the genie back in the bottle. As news of humanity's fleet dominated the galactic media, long-simmering tensions between rival alien powers threatened to boil over into outright warfare, with different factions vying to either ally with or oppose the emergent human juggernaut. For Nathan and the rest of Earth's leadership, the path forward was far from certain. Humanity now faced a choice that would echo through the ages. They could maintain their peaceful isolation and risk being dragged into the looming firestorm of an interstellar war they hadn't started. Or Earth could choose to take a central role in the unfolding galactic drama, leveraging their newfound military might to reshape the very balance of power for generations to come. The fate of humanity, and perhaps the future of the galaxy itself, now hung in the balance. In the wake of the shocking revelation of Earth's immense secret fleet, Nathan Thomas found himself summoned to an emergency meeting deep within the bowels of Earth's central military command. As he strode into the dimly lit conference room, he was greeted by the grim faces of Earth's top brass. General Irene Vickers, her silver hair pulled back in a severe bun, wasted no time getting to the point. Thomas, we need intel on the Bolians, and we need it yesterday. What are those bastards planning? What kind of firepower are we really up against? Nathan leaned forward, his elbows resting on the cold metal table. I've got a plan, General. We need to infiltrate one of their key military installations, hack into their database, and siphon off every scrap of data we can get our hands on. Admiral John Prescott, a bear of a man with a neatly trimmed beard, raised a skeptical eyebrow. And I suppose you're volunteering to lead this little suicide mission? A wry smile tugged at Nathan's lips. Thought you'd never ask, Admiral. With the green light from Earth's leaders, Nathan wasted no time assembling his team. He handpicked a crack squad of elite operatives, each one the best in their field, from hacking to infiltration to good old-fashioned ass-kicking. As they boarded the sleek black stealth ship, Nathan couldn't help but feel a thrill of anticipation mixed with a healthy dose of apprehension. This was the kind of high-stakes mission that could turn the tide of the coming war, or end in disaster. The journey to the heavily fortified Bolian outpost was tense and silent, each member of the team lost in their own thoughts as the ship sliced through the inky void of space. As they approached their target, Nathan engaged the vessel's advanced cloaking systems, rendering them all but invisible to the enemy's sensors. With a gentle thud, they docked with the Bolian base, the electromagnetic locks engaging with barely a whisper. Nathan and his team moved like ghosts through the eerily quiet corridors, their footsteps swallowed by the hum of alien machinery. Locating the base's central mainframe, the team's slicer, a lithe woman named Jenna, got to work, her fingers flying over the holographic interface as she wormed her way past layer after layer of security. Nathan and the others kept watch, their weapons at the ready, ears straining for any sound of approaching trouble. Minutes ticked by with agonizing slowness, but finally, Jenna looked up, a triumphant grin on her face. I'm in. Downloading now. Terabytes of data poured into their ship's memory banks. Classified files on Bolian ships and weapons, troop deployments, battle plans. It was a goldmine of intelligence, the kind of haul that could give Earth a fighting chance in the looming conflict. And then all hell broke loose. Alarms blared through the base, a cacophony of sound that seemed to shake the very walls. The Bolians had discovered the intrusion, and they were not happy. Nathan barely had time to bark out a terse, "Move!" before the first wave of enemy soldiers came pouring into the room, plasma rifles blazing. The air filled with the acrid scent of ozone and scorched metal as Nathan and his team fought their way back to their waiting ship, dodging energy bolts and returning fire with cool precision. They piled into the vessel, slamming the airlock shut just as a searing bolt of plasma slammed into the hull inches from Nathan's head. Strapping into the pilot's seat, Nathan gunned the engines, the force of the acceleration slamming them all back into their chairs as the stealth ship rocketed away from the base. But they were not out of danger yet. A swarm of Bolian fighters materialized on their tail, the enemy ships spitting deadly bursts of cannon fire as they sought to vaporize the fleeing humans. In the chaos of the dogfight, Nathan's hands flew over the controls, sending their ship into a dizzying series of evasive maneuvers. Plasma bursts sizzled past the cockpit, so close he could feel their searing heat through the viewport. Outnumbered and outgunned, Nathan knew they couldn't outfight the Bolians. Their only hope was to outfly them. Spotting a dense asteroid field ahead, he wrenched the controls hard to port, sending their ship hurtling into the deadly maze of tumbling rocks. The Bolian fighters followed, their guns still blazing. Nathan jinked and weaved through the asteroid field, his reflexes pushed to the limit as he threaded the needle between hurtling mountains of jagged stone. Some of their pursuers were not so lucky or skilled, and the flashes of alien ships smashing themselves to oblivion against the unforgiving asteroids lit up the cockpit. But still the remaining fighters pressed their attack, closing in for the kill. Laser blasts stitched a molten line across their hull, alarms shrieking as their shields strained to the breaking point. They weren't going to make it. In a last bold strategy, Nathan's co-pilot Marcus frantically rerouted power from their already failing shields to the reactor core. With a few deft keystrokes, he initiated an emergency overload, the ship's systems screaming in protest. Just as the Bolian fighters moved in for the killing blow, a massive electromagnetic pulse erupted from the human ship. The pursuing fighters shuddered and went dark, their systems fried by the localized ionic storm. With smoke belching from shattered conduits and the acrid tang of burnt insulation filling the air, Nathan coaxed their crippled ship into a limping path back toward Earth. They had escaped, if only by the skin of their teeth, and more importantly, their precious cargo of stolen intel was intact. As they docked at the orbital shipyards, Nathan and his exhausted team were greeted by a small army of intelligence officers, ready to tear into the Bolian data troves. It didn't take long for the grim picture to emerge. The files painted a dark portrait of the Bolians' plans and capabilities. They had been busy little bees, building up their military machine to levels that dwarfed pre-revelation estimates. Worse, they had been forming shadowy alliances with other spacefaring races, mutual defense pacts with one goal in mind: to counter and destroy humanity's fleet, and Earth along with it. But it was the fragmentary mentions of a secret Bolian superweapon that sent the real chill down Nathan's spine. Though details were scarce, one thing was clear. The Bolians were pouring vast resources into a monstrous device, one capable of cracking a planet open like an egg. And if intel was right, the damn thing was perilously close to operational status. As Nathan stood before Earth's ashen-faced leaders, still reeking of sweat and ionized plasma, he made his case, his words clipped and urgent. They had to strike now, hard and fast, before the Bolians could bring their planet killer online. They had to. Nathan's impassioned plea was cut short by a sudden commotion, raised voices, and a susurration of barely controlled panic. The leaders clustered around the glowing readouts of the command center, eyes wide and faces pale. In the madness, an intelligence officer pulled Nathan aside, her voice low and tight with fear. A human colony in the outer reaches had just gone silent, all transmissions repin-fused with the flickering sigil of the Bolian war machine. Long-range sensors revealed a massive enemy fleet in orbit, already raining down fire on the beleaguered colony below. The Bolians had made their move, even as Earth struggled to catch its breath. The first blood had been spilled, and if the grim calculus of history was any guide, an ocean of crimson was sure to follow. Earth teetered on the edge of a razor, caught between the surprise and shock of a newly unveiled foe and the looming specter of all-out galactic war. On the gleaming deck plates of the command center, Nathan and the leaders of humanity faced a choice that would echo through the ages. To strike or to wait, to charge forward or to play defense. The fate of Earth, and perhaps the galaxy itself, hung in the balance. Far away, in the obsidian depths of a Bolian war council, Kellar paced, his eyes feverish with dreams of death and fire. The smoldering ruins of the human colony played across the view screens, a harbinger of what was to come. But Kellar's mind was elsewhere, fixated on the stories of the human infiltration and the whispers of Earth's discovery of the Edict of Ruin, the Bolian doomsday weapon so lovingly crafted. No matter. Let the humans tremble. Let them wail and gnash their teeth. When the Edict of Ruin spoke, all of humanity's vaunted ships and guns and clever tricks would be swept away like so much chaff before the scythe. And from the ashes of Earth, a new galactic order would arise, one ruled by Bolian strength and Bolian will. Kellar smiled, a cruel, thin-lipped thing devoid of warmth or mercy. The game was afoot now, the dice cast and the stakes higher than any mortal mind could fathom. The hollow displays flickered to life, bathing the war room in an eerie blue glow. Earth's top brass sat in grim silence as footage from the devastated human colony played out before them. General Vickers slammed her fist on the table. "Those Bolian bastards," she snarled. "We need to hit back, and hit back hard." Nathan stood, his face etched with exhaustion. "I think I may have found something in the data we stole. Take a look at this." He pulled up a series of schematics and technical readouts. Admiral Prescott leaned in, eyes narrowing. "What are we looking at, Thomas?" "They're calling it the World Breaker," Nathan said. "It's some kind of super weapon, and if these specs are accurate, it's nearly operational." A hush fell over the room as the implications sank in. Nathan continued, outlining the weapon's terrifying capabilities. When he finished, the silence was deafening. Finally, General Vickers spoke. "We need to take it out, now, before they can use it against us." All eyes turned to Nathan. He nodded grimly. "I'll lead the strike team myself." Hours later, Nathan stood in the hangar bay, surveying his hand-picked squad. Elite soldiers and top scientists, the best Earth had to offer. Their target, the Bolian homeworld itself. "Listen up," Nathan barked. "This is a black op. We go in quiet, we hit hard, and we get out. Any questions?" Silence. "Good, let's move." They boarded their ship, a sleek prototype jam packed with experimental tech. As they lifted off, Nathan felt the familiar thrum of adrenaline coursing through his veins. The journey passed in tense silence. As they approached Bolian space, Nathan activated the phase shift drive. The ship shimmered, becoming ghost-like as it slipped between dimensions. They glided past the orbital defense grid undetected, a phantom in the night. Touchdown was flawless, the ship materializing on the planet's surface without a whisper. Nathan led his team through alien terrain, following the coordinates to the Worldbreaker facility. They encountered the first security checkpoint, a massive energy barrier. "Jenna, you're up," Nathan whispered. The team's tech expert went to work, her fingers dancing across her hollow interface. Moments later, the barrier flickered and died. They pressed on, disabling grid after grid. Finally, they reached the main blast doors. Nathan nodded to the demo expert, who placed breaching charges with practiced ease. The explosion rocked the facility. Alarms blared as Nathan's team surged through the smoking hole. Inside, chaos reigned. Bolian security forces swarmed towards them, energy weapons blazing. Nathan's team returned fire, their own weapons spitting death. They fought their way deeper, leaving a trail of Bolian bodies in their wake. At last, they reached the central chamber. Nathan's breath caught in his throat. The Worldbreaker loomed before them, a colossal machine of gleaming metal and pulsing energy conduits. And there, directing a team of frantic scientists, stood Kalar himself. The Bolian ambassador's eyes widened in shock as he spotted the human intruders. With a snarl, he thumped his hand down on a nearby console. Warning klaxons screamed to life. The Worldbreaker began to pulse with ominous energy. "He's activated it!" Jenna shouted. "It's targeting Earth!" Nathan's mind raced. There was no time to disable it conventionally. "Plant the charges!" he roared. "We're blowing this whole damn place!" His team sprang into action, placing demolition explosives at key structural points. All the while, they traded fire with waves of Bolian reinforcements. Nathan spotted Kalar fleeing towards an escape pod. He lined up a shot, but a Bolian energy blast forced him to dive for cover. When he looked up, Kalar was gone. "Charges set," his demo expert called. "Move, move, move," Nathan shouted. They ran, sprinting back the way they came. Behind them, the charges began to detonate in a thunderous chain reaction. They piled into their ship just as the entire facility went up in a titanic fireball. The shockwave buffeted them as they rocketed into orbit. But their mission wasn't over. Nathan spotted Kalar's ship preparing to jump to hyperspace. "Not today, you son of a bitch," Nathan growled. He decloaked directly in the Bolian ship's path and fired a barrage of EMP torpedoes. Kalar's vessel shuddered, going dark as its systems overloaded. "Boarding party with me," Nathan ordered. They cut their way into the crippled Bolian ship. After a brief, fierce firefight, they had Kalar in custody. As they secured the bridge, Jenna made a startling discovery. "Sir, I found the Worldbreaker's firing codes. We can abort the attack." Nathan's fingers flew across the alien console, inputting the abort sequence with seconds to spare. He sagged with relief as the confirmation flashed across the screen. Earth was safe for now. As they set course for home, Nathan knew the real battle was just beginning. The galaxy was a powder keg, and the Bolians had lit the fuse. How Earth responded next would shape the fate of humanity for generations to come. The dust had barely settled from the world-breaker crisis when Nathan found himself summoned before Earth's top brass once again. This time, however, the atmosphere was different. Gone was the panicked scramble of before, replaced by a grim, steely willpower. "Admiral Thomas," General Vickers said, sliding a datapad across the table. "Congratulations on your promotion." Nathan blinked, caught off guard. "Admiral? I don't understand." "We need someone to lead our new offensive strategy," Admiral Prescott explained. "Someone who's proven they can get results. That's you, Nathan." Nathan scrolled through the datapad, eyes widening as he took in the scope of what they were proposing. "Vanguard? This is, ambitious." "It needs to be," Vickers said. "We can't afford to be caught flat-footed again." Over the next weeks, Nathan threw himself into assembling Earth's new strike force. He pored over personnel files, selecting only the best of the best. Ace pilots, seasoned captains, hardened Marines, each handpicked for their skills and experience. The shipyards worked overtime, churning out vessels equipped with Earth's most cutting-edge tech. From nimble stealth corvettes to hulking dreadnoughts filled with weapons, the Vanguard fleet took shape. As the final ships were brought online, Nathan stood on the bridge of his flagship, the ESS Nemesis. Before him, the vast armada of 50,000 ships stretched as far as the eye could see. "Sir," his XO reported, "we've identified our first target, the Kriskov Empire." Nathan nodded grimly. The intel they'd gleaned from the Bolian hack had revealed the Kriskov's rapid military buildup. If left unchecked, they'd soon have the power to overwhelm humanity. "Signal the fleet," Nathan ordered. "We strike in 1 hour." The jump into Kriskov space was textbook. Vanguard ships erupted from hyperspace at multiple vectors, catching the enemy completely off guard. "All ships weapons free," Nathan barked. The void lit up as Earth's vessels unleashed their awesome firepower. Swarms of smart munitions and cutting beams sliced through Kriskov defenses smoothly. On the main view screen, Nathan watched as a massive Kriskov shipyard crumbled under sustained bombardment. Elsewhere, human dreadnoughts traded broadsides with Kriskov battlecruisers, their superior tech and tactics winning out time and again. Even as space burned around them, Nathan knew the real test would come planetside. He keyed his comm. "Reaper Actual, you are clear for drop. Good hunting." Across the Kriskov homeworld, drop pods slammed into the Earth. Squads of power-armored Marines emerged, their stealth systems allowing them to slip past perimeter defenses. Nathan watched the feeds as Earth's elite troops fought their way through the streets of the Kriskov capital. The aliens put up fierce resistance, but it wasn't enough to stop the inexorable human advance. "Sir," his tactical officer called out, "Reaper Squad has breached the Royal Palace." The helmet cam footage showed a frantic close-quarters battle as the Marines pushed deeper into the ornate building. Energy weapons flashed, and the air filled with the sounds of combat. Finally, they reached the throne room. The Kriskov Empress stood defiant, surrounded by her elite guard. For a moment, Nathan thought she might choose to go down fighting. Then a Marine tossed a flashbang, and in the ensuing chaos, they rushed the room. When the smoke cleared, the Empress was in cuffs, her guards lying motionless on the floor. With their leadership captured and their fleets in ruins, the remaining Kriskov worlds had little fight left. Nathan's ultimatum was met with quick capitulation as the awesome might of Vanguard loomed over their homeworlds. But even as they savored this victory, troubling new intel crossed Nathan's desk. The X-Ray, a xenophobic but technologically advanced race, had been secretly developing anti-human superweapons. Nathan knew they had to act fast. He gathered his top operatives for a daring assault on a key X-Ray research station. Stealth shuttles slipped past the station's outer defenses, allowing crack teams of Vanguard troops to teleport directly into the heart of the facility. The station erupted into chaos as alarms blared, and Ixri security forces scrambled to repel the human invaders. Nathan's troops fought their way through winding corridors, trading fire with the station's defenders. "We need that data," Nathan barked over the comm. "Push to the central labs." His soldiers redoubled their efforts, fighting tooth and nail for every inch of ground. Finally, they breached the main research center. As some of the team downloaded critical files, others rounded up the senior Ixri scientists. It was a race against time, with Ixri reinforcements no doubt on the way. "We got it, sir," came the call Nathan had been waiting for. "Data secured, and we've got their top eggheads in custody." "Excellent work," Nathan replied. "All units fall back to extraction points." With the Ixri's secret research in hand, Vanguard struck hard and fast. One by one, weapons complexes and shipyards across Ixri space were reduced to rubble under the relentless human assault. Faced with utter annihilation, the Ixri leadership had no choice but to surrender unconditionally to the humans. As the dust settled on their latest victory, Nathan couldn't help but feel a mix of pride and unease. They'd won, decisively so, but at a cost. The casualty reports from the Vanguard force made for grim reading. He stared out at the vast star field beyond his viewscreen, wondering what challenges the galaxy would throw at them next. One thing was certain: humanity would be ready. Admiral Nathan Thomas stepped off the transport shuttle onto Earth's soil, greeted by thunderous applause. Crowds lined the streets, waving flags and cheering as he made his way to the United Earth Government headquarters. Inside the Grand Assembly Hall, Nathan stood before the gathered representatives of humanity. President Chen approached the podium. "Admiral Thomas, for your exemplary leadership and unwavering dedication to the defense of Earth and her colonies, we bestow upon you our highest honor, the Star of Terra." As the medal was placed around his neck, Nathan couldn't shake an uneasy feeling. The victories against the Kriskov and Ixri had come at a steep price. Weeks passed, and reports began flooding in from across the galaxy. Alien civilizations were mobilizing, viewing humanity as an existential threat. Nathan pored over intelligence briefs late into the night when an urgent alert flashed across his screen. "Prisoner escape detected. High-value target, Ambassador Kalar." Nathan pounded his fist on the desk. How had the Bolian slipped away? He immediately ordered a galaxy-wide manhunt, but it was too late. Kalar had vanished without a trace. Unbeknownst to Nathan, deep in an uncharted system, Kalar stood before an assemblage of alien leaders. Varn warlords with their massive armored forms. High-Reth tacticians, their multiple eyes blinking rapidly. Even rogue factions of Kriskov and Ixri. "The humans have shown their true colors," Kalar proclaimed. "If left unchecked, they will subjugate us all. We must unite against this common foe." Murmurs of assent rippled through the gathered aliens. Kalar allowed himself a small smile. The Phalanx Concordance was born. Across hidden shipyards, construction began at a feverish pace. Swarms of robotic workers toiled endlessly, churning out warships and weapons on an unprecedented scale. Nathan's first inkling of the mounting threat came when a frontier outpost went dark. Then another, and another. He stared at the strategic plot, watching as systems blinked out one by one. What the hell is going on out there? The answer came in the form of panicked distress calls and fragments of sensor data. A vast armada was sweeping across human space, obliterating everything in its path. Nathan barked orders, mobilizing every available ship. The Vanguard fleet poured out of Earth's shipyards, racing to stem the tide. They rendezvoused near Haven's Forge, the Phalanx fleet looming before them. Nathan's stomach dropped as he took in the enemy's true scale. They were hopelessly outnumbered. "All ships, battle formations," Nathan commanded. "We hold the line here, whatever it takes." The void erupted in apocalyptic fury as the two fleets clashed. Energy beams lanced back and forth while swarms of missiles and fighter craft darted between capital ships. On the bridge of his flagship, Nathan watched grimly as Vanguard vessels were torn apart under the relentless Phalanx assault. They were being pushed back, inch by bloody inch. "We need to change the equation," Nathan muttered. His eyes locked onto the massive dreadnought at the heart of the enemy formation, Kalar's command ship. "Helm, plot an intercept course," Nathan ordered. "All ahead full." His battered flotilla plunged deeper into the maelstrom, weathering murderous fire from all sides. Nathan's Marines fought like demons, boarding and capturing enemy vessels, even as they were cut to ribbons. At last, they broke through to Kalar's flagship. The two Titanic vessels hung in space, their weapons blazing at point-blank range. Nathan keyed the ship-wide comm. "All hands abandon ship. Repeat, all hands abandon ship." As the crew transported to safety, Nathan locked his vessel on a collision course. Kalar's dreadnought loomed larger and larger on the display. "This ends now, you bastard," Nathan snarled. The two ships slammed together in a cataclysmic embrace, their reactors detonating in a fireball that outshone the stars. The shockwave rippled outward, consuming friend and foe alike in its inexorable advance. On Haven's Forge, the populace watched in awe as a new sun briefly flared in the heavens. Then came the rain of debris, a hellish meteor shower that scoured the planet's surface. In the battle's aftermath, the newly promoted Admiral Sarah Denhurst surveyed the devastation from the bridge of her crippled vessel. The vast fleets that had clashed here were reduced to scattered, wounded remnants. Sarah clenched her fists, thinking of her mentor's sacrifice. The war was nowhere near the end, but Nathan had given them a fighting chance. She would not squander it. "Begin rescue operations," Sarah ordered, "and get me a status report on our remaining assets. We have a long fight ahead of us." As the battered Vanguard fleet regrouped, Sarah.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.